Check, check. Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to another Fishing Florida Radio Fantasy Fishing Show. What do we talk about on this show? On this said show, we talk about this week's fantasy fishing. Now, I'm just going to, if you're new to fantasy fishing and you go to bassmaster.com and you're trying to get an edge and try to win some of the great prizes that Bass puts out, because I think they give out, for first place, they give out boats and gift cards and all sorts of stuff. It's hard to pick sometimes some of the winners. Now, what you're going to hear from me is I go through and like to do things statistically. And hopefully you guys hear me fine. I like to see what they've done in the past, and that's how I gauge how I do. Now, the first group A, B, and C are kind of easy to guess who's going to do well and who isn't going to do well. Those are all, especially in A, all those guys are great anglers, so they could have a really good tournament. But there might be a couple statistics that might help you pick out who you think is going to be the best one in that group. As we get to groups D and E, it's a lot harder to do this. With all of the new anglers that have come into bass this year, some of these guys have never been to Guntersville, or they've never fished a professional tournament on Lake Guntersville, and that makes it very hard to decide who you should pick and who you shouldn't. So when we get to there, really we're going to go on experience, where people have done well in the past, and maybe give you a couple helpful hints of people that could be sleepers or could help you make up some points here and there, because there are favorites in each group. Some of them shouldn't be favorites. Hello, Jason. I'm going to put that in there. Hold on. There it is, Jason. I'm just going to move that up. Maybe I should put it right there. Just joking. I'll put it right there. Howdy, Jason. So, let's talk about Lake Guntersville to start off with. If you didn't know, next year's Bassmaster Classic is going to be back at Lake Guntersville, which is great. It's also where Bass is kind of, their headquarters are, so it kind of makes sense for them to go back there. It saves money. It's a growing year for Bass. All sorts of stuff. If you didn't know, Major League Fishing about 3 or 4 weeks ago canceled their tournament on Lake Guntersville and then redid it on Table Rock. We could go into a whole thing about how I didn't like this idea, and it didn't make sense. But you want to know what? That's what they had to do. But they had to do it because the water levels were so high, it was almost unfishable. If you didn't know, the Classic this is going to be the third time the Classic in 2020 will be held at Lake Guntersville. They held it in 1776. In 1976, in 2014, I need to slow down, and then again in 2020. Guntersville has hosted 22 major bass events, and 100 pounds isn't out of the realm for Lake Guntersville. They've had 100 pounds caught 4 times Century Club, so it isn't out of the reach. It is not out of the reach. The lake stretches 75 miles from Guntersville Dam to Nickajack Dam. It's Alabama's largest lake at 69,000 acres. Crankbaits in 2014 won it for the great Randy Howell, who had that. Remember, that was actually the year I went and had the great honor of going with Jason Christie out on day 1, and can't even explain how good that dude is. He is unbelievable. So Randy Howell won it on Williamson crankbait. Remember, he said he was driving, then out of nowhere something said to him, "I need to go over here," and he made a turn, and then he ended up going to this place and just came back out of nowhere. At the time, it was the largest comeback of any Bass Classic Elite Championship, and Randy was a great ambassador for a Classic win. So like I said, the hardest parts of this whole thing is groups D and E, because the anglers are so new. It's one of those, you're really kind of just, anyone can do well, but maybe this might help you with learning a couple people that might be able to sneak you into there. Especially, not really with Group E, because I think there's just one person there, but maybe Group D, you might be able to pick up. There's a few that you could pick that might make your group, really good. I should mention, Lake Guntersville's got a ton of pressure at this point of the year. A ton of pressure. But finding grass is crucial for these anglers. When I went with Jason Christie, I guess I was back in 2014, Jason Christie told me when we got on the boat, if he could find grass, and he had many places that had grass, if he could find grass, he was going to catch fish. And when I was on the boat with Jason Christie, it was an amazing day. So experience is a huge part of Guntersville. So like I said, groups D and E are going to be kind of, they're going to be kind of a mystery. Hello, Mark. So most of the new anglers, most of the new guys are new to Guntersville. So that's what's going to make it hard towards the end. But let's not waste, as I scratch my back, let's not waste any more time. Oh, that felt so good. Let's not waste any more time and start off with Group A, where some of the favorites, such as Micah Frazier, who's at that people have picked 15% of the time. Stetson Blaylock is picked almost 20% of the time. Brandon Cobb, which makes sense. Brandon Cobb should be one of the guys that you look at. Brandon is having a crazy good year, 7th in Angler of the Year points, and really, he's one of those young guns that just can fish anywhere, any place. Is he my favorite? No, not really. I think if you want to look at him and give him a hard look, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think that having Micah Frazier, Stetson Blaylock, or Brandon Cobb on your fantasy team, I don't think you can do wrong, to be honest. That's the truth. But if I was looking at it statistically, and here's why I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why I wouldn't take Micah Frazier. In 2015, he finished 78th out there. And Stetson Blaylock, who's picked 20% of the time, 19.2% as of this morning. In 2011, he finished 94th. In 2010, he finished 78th. And in 2009, he finished 23rd. Man, you scratch once and then everything seems to go wrong. You know that? I don't know what's going on. So that's why I'm not sold on those two guys finishing, even though they're the favorites. And Scott Canterbury too. Scott Canterbury has finished. He has a 30th, a 42nd, a 50th, and an 8th since 2009. But if I was going to look at somebody, Scott Canterbury might be one of those people. Here's one I would look at in Group A, and here's why. Bill Lowen, Dollar Bill. First off, great dude. Oh, God, he's so good. He takes my boy fishing all the time from Yamaha. Yamaha guy, and just an all-around good dude. But that isn't why you should pick him. Here's some statistics. He's finished 21st, 30th, 32nd, 44th, and 28th since 2006. His average is pretty good there. Experience has a big part of being out there and knowing the lake. So Bill Lowen at 2% of the country taking him is a solid pick. Is really a solid pick. But if I'm going to take someone, I'm going to take John Cruz. I call him Jonathan Cruz, and I mean no disrespect to John when I say that. I don't know why I have it in my brain that his name is Jonathan Cruz, but it's really John Cruz. Here's why I like John in Group A of fantasy fishing for the Bass Elites. He's had a 14th, a 28th, a 3rd. He's had an 80th, though, that's a little weird, a 25th, a 43rd. Jonathan, in the past couple years, since 2010, having a 3rd, a 28th, and a 14th is really, really good. Really good. I also think that might be a place that he likes to fish. On one side note, and I'm just going to say this, my boy, I don't want to call him my best friend because he is not, and I don't want to hurt his feelings by saying it. If it is an offshore bite this week, and it looks like it's going to be, Brandon Card is going to be on fire. I'm just telling you. I know this firsthand because I keep up with Brandon quite a bit. I talked to him last week, and he told me specifically, if it's an offshore bite, I'm hammering it. So, go Brandon. But if it were my pick, because Brandon's only been out there once and he came in 103rd. So, you can't. And only 2.6% of you say he's going to win. At 3.5%, John Cruz is a really solid pick. John Cruz, Bill Lowen, and Brandon Cobb. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them, but I'm just looking at it statistically. So let's look at Group B. Let's get rid of all the other stuff. Group B. How do you like those graphics? Flip page. Here's where things get a little weird for just me personally. 27.6% of the people think Chris Zaldain is going to do well here. Now, Chris is a great angler. Looking back at what he's done on Lake Guntersville, he's had a 50th and a 52nd place. Not really the greatest statistics if you're going to look at it. 50th and 52nd isn't really breaking down anything. To be honest, that's just one cash. That's one cash on the Elite Series. Here are three people that I think you can do very well with, and you'll enjoy, and you could enjoy some success with. At 6%, Mark Menendez. Now, why Mark? He's 17th in Angular of the Year points for the year. He had a great tournament here in St. John's, and I talked to him. Had a great tournament. I think he came in top 5 or 6 or whatever it was. Mark has had a 47th, a 26th, a 6th, a 23rd in the last 4 tournaments he's been here. Pretty good. Pretty good. If you don't know what that's from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Love that show. Next. All he does is the greatest angler in Texas of all time, Keith Combs. He's at 15.7%. I kind of see this. And really what I realized in a lot of this stuff, people don't know a lot of the anglers, so they go with the people they've heard of. And I'm trying to teach you something that maybe isn't there for everyone to know. So, Keith Combs, he's 26th in the Angular Year points. He has had a 5th place finish recently, a 22nd place finish, a 27th place finish, a 5th place finish, and a 43rd place finish since 2009. That is flat out catching them. Now, they're in different times of the year. I understand that. But, obviously, Keith knows where they are. Keith could have a very, very good week. And when you think of him at 15.7% of the people taking him, and then Chris Zaldain at almost 28, hello? And then the last person, Hank Cherry. Love this dude. Good dude, 25th in Angular of the Year points. He's only picked by 1.5% of the people. But the 2 tournaments Hank has been out there, he's finished 17th and 27th. Very good stats. When you take away all the people that left, the elites, that puts him in like the top 2 or 3. That's awesome. Likes the offshore bite. Likes this is a guy that could do real well. But if I'm going with somebody, it's Keith Combs. To be honest, I think Keith Combs should be picked in every tournament. This guy can fish. Okay. Let's look at Group C. We're still not in the hard part of this, but Group C is still, it's kind of tough. Group C. First and foremost, Jason Williamson is a local guy that could do very, very well here. 36th in Angular of the Year points. He's had a 15th, a 65th, a 36th. He's had a 93rd and 80th. He is picked by 7.8% people. He's a local guy. This is somebody that could do very well. Had some good finishes. That 15th in 2015 is a good tournament. But there's a couple other people that you should probably maybe kind of look at a little bit harder. Next, someone that's going to do very well and has had some great finishes recently, more than anybody else, is Chad Morganthaler. Now, he's 45th in Angler of the Year points. He's had a 10th place finish in 2015, a 23rd place finish in 2014, and then after that it kind of goes really crazy high. But coming off of stuff that's recent, not too bad, especially at 4.4% of the people picking him. That's not a bad one. But I think the favorite in this one, I actually have some stuff wrong on my thing, is Paul Mueller. I don't think there's anything you can say about this young man. 33rd in Angler of the Year points, 56th in 2015, second in 2014. He came second to Randy Howell at the Classic, even though that was colder weather, a lot colder weather. 8.3% of the people say that he is one. Paul should be one to look at. Paul, Morganthaler are both going to do very well. All the three guys I told you about have got to be it. But in this category, I think hands down, Paul Mueller is the guy you should pick. That second place finish and then that 56th, I mean, it's a 56th. Him and Morganthaler are going to be right there. And Williamson, being local, is also going to be good too. Okay, here's where things get quite fun. Why? There is barely any stats to any of these people. But a sneaky pick, even though I don't have him on my little graphics here. Kelly Jade, or whatever his name is. He is picked by 15% of the people. He could be a real sneaker on this one. Real sneaker. But I like a couple other people. Why? Bill Weidler is a local. As I said, local experience is going to be very important here. He is 47th in Angler of the Year points. He's picked by 13% of you. The other person who's picked every time they do it, but I'm not really sure I agree with this one, even though he's had some success, Rick Clunn. Why do I say that? 21% of you think Rick Clunn's going to win. He's 60th in the Angler of the Year points. Here's some stats for you. In 2015, he finished 88th. That's out of 109 people. In 2010, he finished 67th out of 110 people. In 2009, he had a 19th. In 2007, he had a 26th place. And then, good afternoon, Jimmy. In 2006, he had a 44th place. And in 2005, he had a 7th place. But you can see, as the years have gone by and some age and some other stuff, Rick Clunn hasn't really killed it out there. He has the experience, which is very important out there, and probably will do very well. But if I'm going to pick somebody here, hands down, no question about it, Bernie Schultz is who I'm taking. 58th in Angler of the Year points, has a ton of knowledge out here. Here's some stats on Bernie. 32nd, 30th, 46th, 69th, 55th, 32nd, 47th in his tournaments. Now you take all those up again, you take all those anglers that left for Major League Fishing, and out of nowhere, Bernie's top 15, maybe top 10. Cheers. Diet Mountain Dew. So, if I'm taking somebody, my boy, Bernie Schultz, who, selfless promotion here, is the person that has the next 5 tips to help you become a better angler. And they're about spinner baits. And Bernie killed it. I've had some hard time getting good pictures and stuff and underwater footage and stuff. So, and quite honestly, I don't go out and fish spinner baits much. I should, but I don't. Anyway, that'll be coming out soon. In Group E, where things really get fun, everybody has, of course, that's why that's there, Steve Kennedy. I mean, it makes sense. 40% of you think Steve Kennedy's going to do well. Steve's had some crazy tournaments. In 2015, he finished 102nd out of 109. 2014, he finished 44th. He had a 70th, a 54th, a 55th, an 85th, a 20th, and a 3rd back in 2006. Makes sense. Also, a lot of people really like Frank Talley at 16%. However, I have a couple that I think you should really look into, starting with Rick Morris. Why? There's only 0.8% of you pick him. Why? I mean, that's less than 1%. Why? 34th, 45th, 72nd, 52nd, 32nd. And then they get a little bad. Has the experience out there and has not great finishes, but they're decent finishes. They're good. I mean, he cashed out of 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 tournaments. He finished 52nd or below. So not bad. But hands down, the one to pick here is David Fritts. David has had a horrible year. I think he's last in Angler of the Year points. I think. Let me look. He is last in Angler of the Year points. He is picked by 3.5% of you. Now, why David? Very good question. Thanks for asking. In 2011, he had an 87th finish. Not great. But he's had a 3rd, a 1st, a 5th, and a 16th place since 2004. Those are better statistics on Guntersville than most of the people in Group A. That's the truth. David has the local knowledge that's going to make him someone to watch this week. And in Group E, where, look at this. I don't know if it's going to be backwards probably. You can't find statistics for any of these people. Just like in whatever group this one was. Group D. There's just no statistics on how those guys have done. So, guys, remember to subscribe to the channel. Road to 3K. What are we giving away at 3,000? If you're a fan of this, ouch. We're going to give one person a pair of Costa sunglasses. Your choice of Costa sunglasses. We'll give you a code. You can go on Costa.com and pick out what frame, what lens, whatever. It's you can pick out the most expensive one. It's like $269. But you have to be a fan of it. What I'm thinking about doing is the person who sends the most people to subscribe to our channel and then says on one of these things it says, "Hey, this guy sent me. Mark sent me." Well, you want to know what? I'm hooking Mark up with something too. Probably a pair of Costa sunglasses. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to give away something every time we hit a milestone. 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, up to 10,000. Now the 10,000 one is going to be ridiculous. I had to get lawyers involved. I'm joking, of course. 10,000, you're going to see Shimano. Shimano's breaking it out for you. So, guys, subscribe. Send us a comment. Click that like button and click that little notification button. Make sure you're a fan. If you want some free fishing tackle, you got to go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/fishingflorida, and just private message. Or you can email us directly, info@fishingfloridaradio.com. Hopefully this helps you guys with your fantasy fishing. Because quite honestly, if you guys don't like this, I don't have to do it. This is beyond hours of work for me. And not to mention, I did this like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And that sucks. I have other things I can do. And go pick my nose or something. So, like the channel, subscribe, be part of the family. Good luck in your fantasy fishing. Hopefully this helps you a little bit. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to give you statistics and the numbers that I know, numbers that I look up. So, guys, remember, take a kid fishing, get your fish on, watch the channel, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys soon. Hopefully you like what we're doing. Hopefully you like what I'm doing. Because, boy, I'd really appreciate a break. Guys, thanks for watching. See you soon. Good luck this week.